Hello and welcome back to this video series on how to build a patient portal application using Caspio's low-code development platform. In the third video of this video guide, we're going to learn how to build a login screen for both the patients and the doctors. Let's have a look. In the previous video, we learned how to build all the tables and how to connect our tables using primary and foreign keys. Now we're going to learn how to build these login screens for both the patients and doctors. The first step is to go down to the Views object, and we're going to use the views to filter out our active versus inactive doctors and also our active versus inactive patients. This is very important because we want the view to be able to filter only the active patients and only the active doctors, because we only want active users to be able to log in to the application at a later time. And we're going to build the login screen on top of these views that are going to be filtering active users. So let's set up our very first view, and I'm just going to call this UVG HC filter active doctors. So let's begin with the doctors first. All you need to do is move the doctors table to the right, because that's where all of the doctor information resides. Click next, and then using the criteria tab, you're going to use these drag and drop elements and move them inside this window in order to properly filter out active doctors. Now this is a very simple setup. All you need to do is move one field element to the right, select the field account status, and you want that field to be checked. And if you configure this properly, now when you click finish and you open up your view, this view is only going to filter out active doctors from within the doctors table. At the moment, my main doctors table doesn't have any doctors. That's why you're not seeing any data inside this view. But later on in the video guide, we're going to add some dummy data to that table, and you will see how those doctors will be filtered out. Let's build our second view to filter out active patients. Let's call this UVG HC filter active patients from the patient info table. Hit next. Once again, use the criteria tab, move over to field element, and find a field that has the checkbox, which is account status, and you want that to be checked. Hit finish. And all we've done here is we created two views to filter out just active patients and active doctors. The next step is to create these login interfaces on top of these views, because now we're going to be allowing only the active users to log into the application. And to do that, we go inside the Authentications object. We click New, and this is going to launch Caspio's authentication wizard. The first step is to select your data source. I'm going to start with the doctors. So here's the view that we just created. You have two setup options. You can either use Express or Custom. I'm going to use Custom because it gives you a lot more customization options. How do you want to validate the doctor that's logging into the application? If you select the very first radio button, you're going to be looking inside the recommended data source, which is this view that we have selected in this dropdown. But if you want your doctors to log in using social media, or a combination of Caspio data and social media, or even SAML single sign-on, where you use your own corporate network credentials to log into the application simultaneously as you log into your network, you can be logged inside Caspio. This way you don't have two separate sets of credentials. For now, we're going to use the recommended method. We have email and password as our two login fields. I'm just going to change the field name instead of username to email. Scroll down, click on create, and let's give this a name. I'm going to call this UVG HC Doctor Login. And there's my very first login screen created. This login screen is only going to allow active doctors to log in. Let's set up our second authentication for patients. So we'll select the view that filters out active patients. Custom, recommended, and I'm just going to change the label to say email. I'll hit create, and let's give this a name, UVG HC patient login, and hit finish. So just to recap really quickly, once you have your tables created, the next step is to set up your views on how you want to filter out your users. In this case, I want to filter out only the active patients and active doctors. And then you're going to set up these two login screens on top of these views that are filtering active users. This concludes the video on how to create the login screens for both the patients and doctors. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Join me in the next one where we begin building all of the application interfaces all the forms, all the reports, charts, and all the functionality that our application is going to need. I'll see you there.